This is the October 8th assignment where we had to create a song using at least 2 recs. And so I kind of created this short hip hop or trap music genre type song. It's pretty short. And to try to keep this under 2 minutes, I'm just going to talk about the rack instruments that I used and not really anything else. But just to briefly kind of put it into perspective, these instruments, the saw bass and the 808 notes, are the only racks, or the only instruments that don't use racks. So moving forward, this first row here is an instrument rack, and it uses 2 software instruments, the muted noise flute pad and the muted noise sweep pad. And basically I put effects on both of these instruments, as you can kind of see here. And then what I liked about the racks is that you can map parameters to certain parts of it. So for instance, the arpeggiator, the sync rate on the arpeggiator, I mapped to the first kind of knob here. And so I can just, it's better for functionality when I can just turn this knob and it'll increase the repetitiveness of the arpeggiator as opposed to trying to go through the instrument to actually find the device. So that was pretty dope. That was pretty much the first track here. The second track, I used a sample and I put it into the rack to kind of compare between just a sample without the rack. And the biggest comparison again is just the mapping. So I mapped the dry wetness of the reverb that I used as a part of this track. And again, that's just better for getting to it. You can get to it quicker. So I appreciated that. And then the last rack that I used was the drum rack. And I had experience with this from the hip hop chapter, trap music chapter that week. I created a drum rack from scratch back then, so I just kind of did that the same with this track. I only used 4 different instruments, 4 different sounds: the kick, the snare, the hi-hat, and a cowbell noise. And I kind of drew out the MIDI notes here. So then the last thing that I kind of want to mention is that I tried to use some master techniques that we learned from the previous week. So I used the glue compressor. Here are the levels for it right here, as you can see. I used some EQ, and then again I used a limiter. And I think that this kind of helps with the volume in most aspects, but it's not really the same as working with live sounds. So it's going to affect it differently, obviously, because there's less tweaking to be done. But I still think it was pretty beneficial. So yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much an overview of what I used. So I'll let you guys give a listen.